Thank you for being here. Hello, welcome. Thank you for coming to my channel, Insights with Anna. And I am here today to talk about figuring out actually how to work out problems. Now, I'm going to give you the very simple breakdown, an outline actually, of how to figure out a problem, a certain problem in your life. Now, all situations are different. So again, this is just a general outline, and I want to be able to help out at least somebody out there who doesn't know what to do, who feels stuck, who feels like there's no other way right now. I want to show you some exercises as to figuring out a problem. Now, we all have them. Everybody has problems, whether it's at work, at home, whatever, in our relationships, whatever the case, we all have them, right? Therefore, it is important to know what to do and how to figure out a problem, because any consequence can happen from the decisions that we make. Knowing what to do in situations will help you better your life and be able to help you navigate those problems better. And life can definitely depend on how we react, especially with certain people, certain situations. So to be able to get the best out of this video, I really do suggest taking notes and actually working out your own problems and also making the modifications as you need to. These exercises are not for everybody. The reason I say that is because some of these exercises will require a lot of honesty. Now, if you're looking to better your life and to better yourself, of course, you need to be honest with yourself, right? And being honest with yourself will bring you to more true answers for yourself and actually be able to have a more genuine life as to how you want to live. Now, I do want to say also intention and an open mind is very important in these exercises. An open mind because we need to not judge ourselves. Sometimes we may find that the answer to these problems or the reason why these problems came to be is because we created them. Sometimes we create our own problems. And it doesn't mean that we always do it. Sometimes it is other situations, some things that we cannot control, and it gets complicated, right? Life is complicated, but figuring out situations and being able to have an open mind and also the intention, knowing what intention you want to have when it comes to these options or whatever information that comes up when you find out what to do. It is important also to have a mindset of self-development. Now, having that mindset or that approach means that you are accepting situations as they are. Once you have all the information you need to accept things as they are. And the sooner sometimes we get to that realization that there are things we cannot change and things that we cannot do, and realizing just being okay with being where we are, it is actually a more, I want to say, more free feeling, because you don't have to worry about everything. So in a way, what I am suggesting is helping you to figure out your life in a more, figuring out your feelings as well in a more calm way, in a more what we all need actually is just being able to know what to do. A lot of us get stuck, and therefore that self-development mindset of accepting what is, then making changes as you need, and then reviewing those changes. And then again, you would start the cycle up again of accepting, changing, reviewing. And now it is important to keep that in mind, that mindset, because then from there you can find solutions from one solution and more opportunities from whatever may come from you figuring out these problems, right? So And I also want to say that this process is not a process that everybody has to do. In fact, if you feel more comfortable adding more information or more processes to what you find in my videos, then great. Just modify it as you need to for yourself. You don't need to follow exactly what I'm doing. You don't need to do exactly what as I'm doing. So I just wanted to put that out there. It is important for you to, once you start figuring out your life, to also make your processes and write your systems as you go, especially when you're planning or anything like that. But I do want to say anything I bring up in my video, you can definitely use. Please do not hesitate to take any ideas or figure things out for yourself as to what you're going to do after that. So we're going to start out with, first thing, writing the problem. What exactly is going on? So you're going to write down the what, the where, the how, the who. Also important to know who in your life is in these problems with you, or who is really not supporting you, or things like that, right? But, and also the why. We're going to figure out the whys, okay? But first you're going to write out everything about your problem just to see everything together, okay? And that way you have, and I would suggest once you write out everything, make sure you have all the information you need. Now, do you need to talk to somebody to be able to understand more processes or situations or outcomes for whatever problem you're trying to figure out? Do you need to talk to somebody to know their position or their feelings as to what is going on, or for you to make your own decisions from there? So it is important for you to, once you are writing out your problem, to write out everything as you need to. Make sure you have all the information you need to be able to figure out everything, right? Now from there, you are going to find the root cause. And I'm going to show you real quick in a small section how to do that. First, you're going to do the exercise called the 5 whys. Now, you're going to have your problem, you're going to ask why, write out your answer, then ask why, write out your answer, ask why, write out your answer, ask why again, write out your answer. Once by the time you ask the 5th why, you usually get to that root cause of the problem. Now, if you don't get to that root cause, it is important for you to keep going and asking more questions as you need to. But that doesn't mean that you need to stop at 5. You can stop wherever you feel. If you have it at 3 whys, then great. You don't need to continue and find more. But it is important for you to find that root cause. Now, with the root cause, you can make better decisions and also tackle the situation from the root. That way you get everything worked out, the better, right? And less time that you have to worry about anything else or who is involved or all that kind of stuff. Then from there, once you write out all your whys and you find your root cause, you're going to write out in another piece of paper, you're going to write out what is your instinct from there. What is your goal out of the situation? And who do you want to benefit from the situation? Now, of course, most of the time it'll be us, or you're going to figure out the problem for yourself. But there are problems that involve other people. And therefore, sometimes, because not all of us just only care about ourselves, we do tend to care about other people. It is important to also figure out the problem, the situation for those people. Sometimes it's children, sometimes it's an older adult that cannot take care of themselves. So it's important to take into account who this is going to benefit and who you want to be affected by the situation. As I was saying, there are certain things that we can and cannot control. Now, I am going to mention those things. I copied this from one of the Pinterest posts, and it helps me to understand kind of and keep in mind what I don't have a control over and what I do have a control over. And I'm going to point them out. The amount of effort I put into something is my own decision. My words are my own decision. My actions, how I treat others, if I follow the rules or not, is my own decision as well. How I handle my feelings, my decisions, how I take care of myself. All of that is within our control. Our own thoughts. We can't always control our own thoughts, but we can learn to change those thoughts should we need to. Okay, so it is important to understand that there are things that are out of our control. Importantly, what other people do, we cannot control that. We cannot change the past. We cannot make other people choose certain things or not choose certain things. What they say, how they feel, and of course the weather. Anything with the weather, we cannot control. Anything with other people, other situations, out of our hands. If we are not the sole creator sometimes, or most of the time, we are out of the control. Okay, from that. We cannot control those things. So it is important to keep that in mind. Again, what you can and cannot control. The only thing you can control is yourself. You can only control yourself. Okay? So I wanted to make sure people understand that when it comes to your options, when it comes to your situation and whatever options you choose from that, it's important for you to know what you can do and cannot do. Once you have your root cause, you can write out 3 options or more, up to you completely, or 1 option. It's completely up to you. But you can write out your options and from there figure out the pros and cons of every single situation or every single one of those options that you want to take. Now, the reason I say that is because it is important to see what will benefit you. So the pro, what will benefit, the con, what is against you. Okay? So from that, you can make a more educated decision and a better decision for yourself and whoever you want it to benefit. Now, this will help you lay out everything and see the logical sense of the entire problem and the solution. Now, the reason I had you write out your instincts and your goals, because in your instinct, you may write out how you feel about it. Now, I do want to mention it's important to take into account how the feelings are, because if you make a decision and you don't take into account how you're going to feel or how a certain something makes you feel, you are going to be kind of blindsided in case it doesn't feel right. And there are certain things that may not feel right once you find that decision or find that solution. If it doesn't feel right, it should be more like, what are you drawn to? Once you find your pros and cons from there, what are you drawn to? How do you want to feel after the situation, or the decision that you make? So it is important to take into account those situations, those feelings. And also to balance the logical and the feelings, because of course thoughts are the language of the mind. We all have thoughts. We all constantly, our mind is always thinking, and feelings is what is going to stay in your body sometimes. If you don't feel right, like different feelings like shame or guilt, they tend to stay in the body. And if they're staying in the body, then it is harder to get through these situations because you feel a certain way. If it doesn't make you feel any better. So Feelings are very complicated, but it is important to take those into account. So I really do suggest doing a lot of journaling as to figuring out those problems. So once you have your solution, figure out how you are going to feel from there. And those are my suggestions, of course. And the next section I wanna suggest. When it comes to problems, yes, people can be our problem. Situations can be our problem. And we can just believe that that's it, right? But in reality, because we can't control anything, everything else but our own feelings, our own situations, our own reactions, like I showed you in the circle of control, there's only certain things that we can't control. So keep in mind, when you're dealing with somebody, it is important to take into account how much is this person reaching your heart. If they are not reaching your heart, you do not have to open it. It is up to you if you want to open your heart. Are you able to forgive the person? Are you able to remove yourself? Because all in all these questions, it is your decision. How ready are you to deal with this person and have an honest conversation with? Are they agreeable? Are they willing to make certain changes for you? So knowing that firsthand, know the person that you're dealing with. If you don't know them, then it's time to figure it out. It's time to get to know them, because you make better decisions knowing somebody or watching them or figuring out what their next move is, especially if you feel uncomfortable with this person. So it is important to know how much are you willing to put in the effort for this person, okay? Know that beforehand, before you make any rash decisions. And also you can talk about with yourself or figure out with yourself whether you want to have barriers. You could have barriers. Your barriers can be, let's say, they talk about a certain, let's say they criticize your work. They criticize what you do. They criticize your hair, your, whatever it is. If they criticize you and you don't welcome it, you don't like it, then maybe it's time to leave when they start criticizing you. Maybe it's time to set only certain time constraints with these people, because not everybody is looking out for you. In reality, almost everybody is looking out for themselves. And sometimes it is better to know that that is their goal if you're dealing with somebody and they are being problematic, toxic, taking your energy, whatever it is. If you're having problems with this person, it is important to know who they are, where you are at emotionally with them. If you're not in a good position emotionally with them, then you don't have to make it right emotionally for them. You make it right for yourself. You make it right for you so you can start living better. And sometimes it does take to start accepting these people. If you have to accept who they are, sometimes it is better to just accept who they are, bless them, and leave them. You don't have to hang out with so-and-so. You don't have to be kind to whoever so-and-so. Of course, be courteous, right? I mean, the golden rule, we want to be treated, we want to treat people as we want to be treated. But either way, nobody else but yourself, you yourself determine how you want to deal with this person. So I want you to take that into account. How much are you willing to open your heart to this person, okay? And also, if we start accepting others as they are, as the person that they are, and they show signs they are not willing to change, not willing to be better for you, for other people, then it will be a less of a trigger for you if you start accepting them, because then you don't have to worry. It's okay, that's who you want to be. So you move on. You continue your own life. Okay? And sometimes having those limitations with these people may make it better for you as well. So to be able to be a better person for yourself, because in reality, if they don't want to change for you or make anything better for the situation, the relationship, whatever it is, then you make it right for yourself. You can, again, set those boundaries, time constraints, or move on. You know, those are situations that you can do. Now, when it comes to situations, like let's say it's not just a person that you think is your problem, let's say. If you think it's a situation, now I really do suggest, and again, my suggestion only, the approach to figuring out a situation is through the people. Now, the reason I say that is because the more you bring up or you help people, the more you become a team player, the more you work with others, you care for others, the more they feel that from you and will reciprocate that feeling. They will start being different with you. Of course, if you're kind with somebody, they're going to be kind with you most of the time, right? But if you are looking to better a situation, do it through the relationships that you have with these people. Make sure that you are working on the relationships, making them better. The more you work on the relationships and make your relationships better, the better you will have. You will have more opportunities, more camaraderie with everybody. So it is about learning to work with people, to accepting people, because that will make your life easier. That will help you, because we cannot get through life alone. We cannot get through life being alone and just doing nothing. And therefore, it is important to make sure that you are working with others, and basically that will be through accepting them. So these are suggestions. If you have questions, if you have anything you want to say in the comments, please do so. I will be reading them after this video. Once I publish the video, I will be reading the comments. I am putting out this video to help others. I want to help people, make sure that they can become a better version of themselves. So hopefully this can help you. And if you have any questions, please make sure that you leave me a comment. I would really appreciate your subscription. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Again, thank you for finishing up the video. I appreciate it. That was definitely the messages I wanted to bring or provide to everybody. Now, I did want to say a couple of things. Through my life, I have worked with some wonderful people, pretty much a lot of people that I have worked with. And recently I asked some of those people to let me know if they had any motivational messages for the world. So hopefully one of them did let me know, Alexis. And she is a beautiful person inside and out. But I wanted to say, because she mentioned she has this tattooed on herself. It's a quote that says, "Difficult roads lead to beautiful destinations. And what a beautiful quote when it comes to this video. First of all, thank you, Alexis. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that quote with me. And I think it makes a lot of sense, because the more you challenge yourself and the more you learn to grow, the better it will be for you in the end. You will have better experiences, better situations in your life. You will learn a lot more. So, great quote. Thank you so much, Alexis. Thank you for giving me a quote that makes a lot of sense for the type of message that I wanted to give in this video. So thank you. And I hope that does give a little bit of insight to somebody. But I also wanted to mention the second part. I recently had my hair done, and believe me, I normally don't touch my hair. I am a person that I try to use organic shampoos. I try not to do anything with my hair. And the one time I did do highlights was when I was 17. And since then I hadn't done anything. Well, I recently got my hair colored. I don't know if you can tell, it's purple with a little bit of red. And the video probably doesn't do it justice. It does look good, really good in the sun. But I just wanted to say thank you so much to Sam from Centennial Hills Salon. She was the one who did all this, and she took pretty much an entire 9 hours almost doing it, because I have a lot of hair. And she was a blessing. It was so amazing to spend time with her, not just to get to know her, but her amazing talent that she has when she did my hair. I am loving it, and I feel like this is totally me. I wanted to say thank you so much, Sam, for what you did for my hair. I appreciate it. So that was all the messages I wanted to say at the end. Thank you again for being here in this video and watching through. I appreciate it. You guys, good luck with everything. And if you, again, any information that you can get out of these videos, great. If it helps you, great. I really would be very happy if that can be what comes out of these videos. Thank you so much. Good luck with everything.